Welcome! This is Beverly Garland, and I am a creative professional who enjoys helping other creative change makers do really cool things. Today I'm going to talk about using a timer to be more productive. For most artists, musicians, performers, and writers, doing really cool things means embarking on exciting projects, using your skills and talents to traverse unknown territory, learning a lot along the way, and sharing the end results with an appreciative audience. For people who are also on a mission to help or inspire others, doing really cool things is the same process, but with the additional goal of creating a desirable change in the world. I call this getting magic done. But what would happen if you just couldn't get started? If you got overwhelmed, or you couldn't stay focused, and those life-changing projects never saw the light of day? At the end of this video, I'll share how that almost happened to me and how the day was saved by a simple kitchen timer. That's right, a kitchen timer. This is a short presentation to talk about one of the simplest tools I can think of for working on projects when you are highly distractible or feeling overwhelmed, the timer. There's a concept I picked up in my days as a software project manager called time boxing. Time boxing is placing a predetermined limit on the amount of time you're going to spend on an activity. The emphasis is on the predetermined part. There are different types of time boxing. You can put a time box on a whole project, what we usually call a due date, on a meeting to keep it contained to an hour, or to put a limit on how much time you'll spend on a task at one sitting. We're going to focus on the last type of time boxing, using a timer as a tool for productivity. I am talking about a simple kitchen timer or the type of timer you might have on your smartphone. I'm going to talk about why to use it, how to use it, and ways to use it. Plus, at the very end, I'll tell you what to avoid. When to use a timer. Use it any time you need to handle distraction, procrastination, or overwhelm so you can focus and get traction on some project. It's the same principle as taking life one day at a time, but broken down into 15 to 30-minute increments. There are several benefits to time boxing tasks this way. Taking frequent breaks keeps you from over-focusing to the point where you're exhausted. Therefore, it's a good way to conserve energy and pace yourself. It also protects other activities you already have planned in your schedule from being pushed off because you got carried away with your work. Raise your hand if you've ever forgotten to leave in time for an appointment because you wanted to respond to just one more email. It reduces perfectionism because you get used to walking away from a task while it is undone, and then you come back to it with fresh eyes and a more objective viewpoint. It creates clear and helpful boundaries that give your family or coworkers a legal time to interrupt you several times a day, as in during your breaks. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, it corrects the distortion that occurs in your mind when you view everything you need to do as one gigantic blob with no end in sight. Therefore, it helps a lot with overwhelm and procrastination. Here are the specifics on how to use a timer. Set your timer for a comfortable amount of time. 15 to 30 minutes is sufficient, but no more than 40 or 45. You want it to go off before your attention span peters out. When it goes off, take a break from the task. Use this to rest the part of your brain that was focusing on work, and maybe stretch and get a drink of water. Set the timer again and go back to work. Repeat this throughout the day for as long as you feel like you need to. Ways to apply the timer to your life. You can use a timer to make doing routine chores seem less onerous, and you'll be surprised at how much you can get done before it goes off. It often takes far less time than you think to fold clothes, clean a kitchen, or declutter your desk. You can use it to carve out small bites of a big overwhelming task, like cleaning out the garage or organizing your studio or office. You can use a timer during writing assignments, especially for big projects like a book or a dissertation. You can also use a timer for exercise or healthy movement. In the midst of a hectic week, you might think you don't have any time, But even 15 minutes 3 times a week is better than 0. A timer helps you commit to that bare minimum. Of course, you can use it for any creative project where there's a lot to do and it's a little daunting. Let me share a personal story that involves these little guys. I used a timer all throughout a big animation project where I worked at home alone on my part for 6 months. It was all hand animated, and the final product was going to be installed in a major American museum. Although I'd done similar projects before, it had been a long time, and I would be using some new tools I wasn't sure about. It was very close to my heart also because it was supposed to teach kids what to do if they see someone getting bullied. Because it was meaningful and held a lot of unknowns, I felt so much overwhelmed that I would get completely discouraged even before I sat down to work. However, once I set the timer and just made myself start something, I noticed I was doing better than I thought I would, so I felt more and more confident as I made progress. The end of the story is that the children at the museum got to learn an important life lesson in a fun way, and I got to be part of that. Now, one more detail for you. Using a timer works best if you can avoid getting sidetracked during your time session. I have some specific tips about that, so if you want to hear those right now, click the button to sign up for my email list right here on this page. When you sign up, you'll receive additional videos and articles about managing your projects and get instant access to the next video with tips on avoiding distractions. I promise I won't share your email with anyone else. Again, if you sign up for my free tips, I'll send you straight over to the next video on avoiding distractions while you use a timer.